India find itself in a slightly precarious position at the end of the day's play. This is day one of the first test match in Centurion. Rain plays spoil sport at the Super Sport Park in Centurion. Time now to take a look back at day one with Dinesh Karthik on Cricbuzz Chatter. It's been a while, DK. All of us struggling with a few ENT issues, and the rain isn't making life easier because we thought we'll feel the warmth of some competitive test cricket. Only 59 overs of play on day one. How did you look back at it?
First of all, Merry Christmas to everybody. Belated a little bit, but it's good to be back here. And it just feels like one of those days where we all knew coming into this test match it's going to be rain mud. What we didn't expect was the pitch to be as spicy as it turned out to be. There's a lot in it for the fast bowlers. South Africa winning the toss and obviously choosing to bowl first, understandably so. But some massive questions were raised by their fast bowlers, Rabada being the pick of them, and quite a interesting and intriguing first day's play. Generally, when 8 wickets falls in the first day's play, you would say it's completely in favor of the bowling team. But looking at the pitch, I wouldn't totally go in that direction. I think, Manish.
Well, it was a day where KL Rahul showed his class once again, batting at number six for the second time in his Test career. There was talk of which keeper will India go with. They went with KL Rahul, I suppose, for his better batting abilities as compared to KS Bharat. The chance of Rishabh Pant making a comeback sometime in 2024. There's Ishan Kishan as well. So lots of keeping options that Indian cricket has these days. But KL Rahul being backed, if there was ever a question mark on his abilities, those questions should be answered today with this kind of innings, which had grit, resilience, lots of fireworks as well, and he added runs with number 8, 9, 10.
He batted, very authoritatively towards the end of his inning. But what was really good was how he was able to fight at the start when he had normal batters with him, and that shows the skill. KL is someone who's always got runs abroad. That's a very rare quality to have, and KL Rahul constantly showing the world why he's rated so highly. He got 100 in England. He's got a couple of hundreds in England for that matter. He's got runs in Australia. We know he's got 100 previously in the same ground against South Africa. Yet again, repeating it today on a much tougher pitch. It was so hard to bat on, and he came. He weathered the storm, batted well. But when he got together at towards the end with the likes of Bumrah and Siraj, started playing some sumptuous shots, a couple of big tall hits, sixes of both the fast bowlers. So he's batting really well. And from the time he's made his comeback, from the time he's put foot in the Indian team again after his injury in the Asia Cup, in many ways he hasn't looked back. He's been quite the player that India needs and has been one that they want.
Yes, and then 1 6 over covers, perhaps the standout moment of the day for KL Rahul. But apart from him, the other batters, some of them showed glimpses of being in control. None of them could really make it big. KL Rahul got Virat Kohli got an absolute beauty from Rabada as well. The top three getting out in the first session, then all four to Rabada in the second, and then one more towards the end for Marco Jansen, the wicket of Jasprit Bumrah. What explains the Indian batting not able to perform up to expectations? A, is it change of format suddenly from white ball to hard nosed Test cricket, or is it the fact that this is a Test team that has got a youngster in Yashasvi Jaiswal? It's trying to rebuild itself in the post Pujara, if I may use that expression. What do you think is the key reason Indian batting did not work today?
First start, I think 3 out of the 6 batters are playing in South Africa in their first test.
Yeah.
That's always going to be a challenge. And throw in the fact that they've given a very spicy wicket, it's never going to be easy. What I really liked was how well Virat Kohli batted. I thought he looked sumptuous. He looked solid. He's a player who we know over a period of time, the tougher the pitches, he brings his A game to the A game, those kind of pitches. And today, yet again, he brought and he batted beautifully. Shreyas Iyer, was put down early, but I like the approach he took to batting. I thought he decided that it's got to be a lot more positive. Played the shots, took them on, and I liked what he did till he got one to nick back in. Probably kept a touch low, but he was always going to get a ball like that with the one that's coming in because his weight is slightly on the back foot and the bat pad gap getting there. KL Rahul was obviously the best batter of the day, not only showing his technical prowess, but also showing his mental skill. But if you see the rest of the batters, I think some of them got snotters, like
Yeah.
starting with Rohit Sharma. Rohit Sharma was, I mean, you can't say unlucky, but he's always going to live by the sword, die by the sword when it comes to the pull shot. Today was one that didn't obviously go past the rope. We've seen it. A plenty of times in the last few months where it's gone way beyond the boundary line, and he's given us a lot of joy in not only playing that shot but also us watching that shot. So I don't think we can really fault him. It's something that comes to him very instinctively. Yashashvi was out to a good nut, something that just fell full. His ball was swinging. He was looking pretty decent up till then. Number three, now Shubman Gill, when you get caught down the leg, it's always one that you don't want to be discussing too much about. Till the time he lasted, it was too little to judge anything from. The ball of the day for me was Ashwin. I thought it was an absolute snorter. He's someone who, in these kind of pitches, can give you a valuable 30, something similar to what a Shardul Thakur did. But that one was unplayable. I mean, that's a ball you get. You just feel like it's okay. I need to move on. The next innings is what I need to look forward to. Shardul Thakur, yet again, the Lord showing us why he could be really valuable in those kind of conditions. Played some lovely shots. In fact, got out to a pretty unlucky shot. They set him up with that hit after the bouncer. You could see the weight being at the back, just throwing his hands at one. Overall, it was a day which was definitely in favor of the bowlers. The South African bowlers exploited for the majority of the time till KL Rahul took over on the back end of it and played some good shots. But I think if India can get to 230, 240, they'll be pretty happy with that score. We have four fast bowlers as well, so we can, probably do the same that South Africa has done to us.
Yeah, some of the top order didn't do what they were expected to. There were efforts and attempts to build partnerships, and I suppose KL Rahul did everything he could. It's just that none of those partnerships lasted long enough.
Yeah, in these kind of conditions, the one thing that you need to do understand is to play a lot more shots. If you do look at the partnership of fourth wicket between Shreyas Iyer and Kohli, 68 runs were scored in just under 15 overs, which tells you that they were trying to take the game on almost, about half four is what they were going. So it tells you that the best way to bat was to look to try and play some shots.
Yeah.
And towards the end, Shardul and KL mainly played some shots and have taken India rather to a very respectable total. At one point, it was looking bleak. We all, I think, will should be honest enough to say that we were looking at a 150, 160 kind of finish. But the fact that they're 200 plus for the loss of 8 wickets is not bad at all.
Yes, one man primarily responsible for India's woes. He made his debut at Mohali against India in 2015, and in only 8 years, this man has touched the 500 wickets mark. His first ever Test wicket was Virat Kohli, caught Dean Elgar, bowled Rabada. He gets Virat Kohli once again today. A total of 500 international wickets, and playing at home, he goes past the great Alan Donald as well. Kagiso Rabada is a force, isn't he?
Oh, put it very, mildly, he is a massive force. There's no doubt about it. I think he's been South Africa's spearhead for about a few years now, taken over from some great bowlers, but has shown the skill. He's very, very, skillful with the ball. He's someone who can swing it both ways. And, the problem in these kind of pitches is because he has a very, very healthy seam position, he gets extra bounce, which not a lot of bowlers got. And that set him apart from the rest of the bowlers. And over a period of time, we've seen how when he really runs in hard and can hit the deck, he can cause trouble to most batters in the world. And today was again an example of how, in helpful conditions, he can at times be unplayable. The likes of Virat Kohli and R. Ashwin getting in some nasty balls. But must admit that he's a great bowler to watch as well. Having played him quite a bit, I know when he's running in at the top of his mark, I can feel when he's bowling well. Sometimes he's off rhythm like any other bowler, but when he is on song, he's quite the bowler to watch and a very tough bowler to play as well because he can swing it both ways, happens naturally, and he's got that natural bounce as well. So it's quite a handful to deal with.
Well, five of his dismissals today: Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, Shreyas Iyer bowled, then Shardul Thakur, as well as Ravichandran Ashwin. But we've got to talk about that Virat Kohli dismissal and how he set it up.
You have to, isn't it? See, Centurion has been a very happy hunting ground for Kaki Surabara. In the same way, Virat Kohli has had some success in Centurion as well. He's got 100 there. So when the best is up against the best, you got to see what the challenge is all about. It's just not the battle of technique, but also a battle of mental battle is as tough as anything else. And today it was again a case of that. Virat Kohli batted really well. I thought, whether the first spell came back, and when he did come back for his second spell, did everything he could till he got that nasty one. When I say nasty one, it didn't take off or anything. It was just that it it was angled in, pitched, and went out. And as a batter, all you can do is just play the line, which is what Virat did. And if it ends up taking your edge. There's not too much you can do. I think Virat played very well till he lasted today. Looked solid. We were privy enough to watch some of his beautiful flick shots, which we've been always witness to over a period of time. Yet again, showing his skill. But today, Rabada had the better of Virat Kohli, no doubt about
178 wickets playing at home in South Africa. What makes him so lethal at home?
just the fact that he not only has a high release point, he's got a he's not got one of those long run up, slightly short run up, but very effective in his run up as well. Economical, very repeatable action, something that a lot of good bowlers look forward to. You just very simple with his action as well. He's just slightly round arm but gets the ball to move away, and the ability to bring it back in when required is what sets him apart. And as I said, on flat wickets, like most bowlers, you can sometimes play shots against him, but if you give him a spicy wicket like the one in Centurion today, well, he'll eat you for breakfast, lunch, and sometimes twice for dinner.
Yeah, well, a very quick meal for Nandre Berger as well. A couple of wickets and a catch in that first session of play. He was clearly the highlight before Rabada came in and did his thing. A wicket for Marco Jansen, a bit of a hot and cold day for him. No wickets for Kodze, who ran in really hard, gave it everything he had. But a look at this bowling card. Perhaps DK will help you tell us what you make of the support cast. We've already spoken about Rabada. What do you make of the kind of day Jansen, Berger, and Kodze had?
Well, for the first session, the headline act was Nandre Berger. I mean, Rabada could have got two as well, but Jansen dropped the catch of
Yeah,
Shreyas Iyer.
yeah.
Though you have to say that the two best bowlers for the day was number one Rabada and Nandre Berger. I think Coetzee obviously trying for a little bit of swing, not hitting the deck as hard as he usually does, looking to get some movement off the pitch as well. Wasn't lucky enough to get a wicket. Jansen just getting the one wicket of Bumrah. But you have to say they did a supporting act, but wasn't the best at it. But having said that, I think the lead bowler, Mr. Kahiso Rabada, stood up and showed the world why he is so effective on a very, very spicy pitch.
Yeah, well, Test cricket is the real cricket, not just for cricketers, but for cricket experts as well. And so, for a change, I'm going to put Dinesh Karthik in the hotspot. Now, at the toss, we saw a typical Rohit Sharma smile and the shrug of the shoulders, saying he wasn't sure what to do if he won the toss. It's a good toss to lose. Temba Bavuma won the toss and straight away said, we're going to bowl first. So, the question for you is, DK, will the toss be the deciding factor in this test match?
Look, Centurion has been very interesting. Teams batting first have managed to win matches consistently. And but the fact that the local team has decided to bowl first tells you that in many ways this was a pitch where they backed themselves to get 20 wickets at any point of time. And with the added advantage of a little bit of moisture being there, and the green nature of the pitch helping the fast bowlers, and the fact that they have four fast bowlers, they decided to bowl first, and rightly so. And I think in many ways, if they can stop India to less than 230, they will fancy a result, providing the weather doesn't play spoil sport. And I completely understand where Rohit comes from, because India, for interestingly, on tough pitches, when they have been put into bat first, have come out in flying colors. Now that is the one big positive for India, and that they'll be looking to achieve yet again.
Now, Zahir Khan on the Hindi version of Cricbuzz Chatter said India will be looking at least 250 to give something to their bowlers, because here's a bowling attack that can make magic happen. They're going in with Ravi Ashwin. Jadeja got this little back spasm problem last night, earlier this morning as well. Ashwin came into the side. Shardul Thakur, one of the four bowlers. Prasidh Krishna gets his test debut. Siraj and Bumrah, the spearheads. What do you make of this 11? Also, KL Rahul being picked as the keeper batter, batting at number 6.
It's interesting, Manish. I think in one of the shows during the World Cup, we had discussed about this, and I actually felt that KL Rahul would be keeping in this series, mainly because of how well he's been batting, and the fact that he's constantly showing the world that as a middle order batsman he is very valuable is something that India has been very happy with. And add to the fact that he's kept very, very well. He's hardly had any blemishes, which gives you a lot of confidence as a captain and a coach to, put faith in him as a test keeper. And if his body was okay, which it seems to be, then why not? And in South Africa, for a large part, he'll be tested keeping against fast bowlers, which he is very, very proficient against. So I would like to believe that they made the right choice with going in with KL Rahul as the keeper. And the other option is, if Jadeja had been fit, Would they have gone in with two spinners, or would they have gone in with still the same 11 and probably left out an Ashwin? That is the only doubt that could have been there. But the fact that Jadeja got injured, Ashwin has gotten, and there's four medium pacers with Shardul Thakur batting at number 8. And I thought he contributed pretty decently. Other than that, it was a pretty straightforward 11. I think we all knew that Shubman Gill was going to bat at 3. The last choice was the close one, because if you do remember, I just jogged back in time a little bit. Mukesh Kumar had a good game in West Indies, but it was Prasid who got the nod because he got a 5 for India A. He's a tall bowler, can make use of conditions, and bounce is something that can be really helpful in Centurion. And understandably, Rohit choosing someone who could use that as an advantage, someone who could get the ball to rear from tough places against the South African batters. And I'm pretty confident Prasid Krishna, and rightfully making his debut, can have a really good game.
A couple of debutants, new names for South Africa. Nandre Berger, we saw him in action in that white ball leg of this tour as well. David Bedingham in the middle order as well. South Africa going in with four pace bowlers, no space for Keshav Maharaj. What does that tell you about this South African Test 11? And they're also sort of going through a rebuilding process as well, with Quinton de Kock having said goodbye. Elgar has played very well against India in the past. Markram up top, Zorzi, a new name, dropped a catch today. Babuma was injured, didn't spend too much time on the field. How do you look at this South African playing 11?
It was a team where Ma- Henrik Klassen was part of it, but now he's lost out his place to David Bedingham. Understandable. They've been looking at that middle order a little bit over a period of time. What's going to be interesting is to see where Markram bats. Is he going to be opening? Is he going to bat in the middle order? That's an area that they will be looking to understand. Tony De Zorzi had a really good ODI series, so he'll be taking that confidence in. Another change, as he's rightly put, was Keshav Maharaj. He tells you that from their reading of the conditions, they don't see the requirement of playing a left arm spinner here. If they wanted to play Keshav Maharaj, then we could have probably seen, or rather, we would have probably seen Vian Mulder in place of a David Bedingham. But I think they've gone for a seven batter approach with four fast bowlers. So it's going to be interesting when they come back to bowl in the second innings. If there isn't as much help and India do get through the first 40, 50 overs, then who will they go to? Is Markram the only spinner being there? Will they be going to him? So that's the question that they would have been looking at. But with the 11 that they've chosen, looking to bowl first made more sense.
Right, only 59 overs of play possible today. Rain marred day one of this first Test match at Centurion. What's in store on day two? We'll find out from Dinesh Karthik in fast forward. Right, KL Rahul has played really well, holding one end, coming up with the big shots as well. He's scored a few runs, added a few runs with number 8, 9, 10 as well. So, multi-pronged question for you. A, what should KL Rahul's approach be in the first hour tomorrow? And B, how do you see the pitch behaving?
For KL Rahul, he just needs to carry on with what he's done, which is to take on the bowlers if it is in his half, which is what he's looked to do. Anything slightly full, slightly on his side, he's looked to go over the top. The fact that they don't have fielders in the deep has given him even more confidence to go at it with full jest, which he's done really well, especially with Bumrah and Siraj being there. And when it comes to what total India can get, well, I think if they can get anywhere close to 230, 240, they've done a very, very fair job considering they could have been way lesser if they had one wicket fallen a little earlier. So I think India will be happy with. When I say happy, relatively happy. Ideally, they would have wanted a much higher score, but I think they would be at the end of the day's play pretty relieved, thinking, okay, it's not a bad score because if we do get them all out to 270, 280, then they come back in third innings, and that's where the game is, and weather playing a part as well will definitely help India as well.
There was
And what was
a
your second?
the pitch, because there was a lot of movement available even in the second innings off the pitch as well as in the air. And there's some rain forecast tomorrow as well.
Well, there's been rain forecast pretty much throughout the test, so
Yeah.
I won't be interested. I won't be surprised if there is consistent, not consistent, sparse rainfall through and through in this test match. But let's put it this way: the pitch is going to quicken up a little bit. That's what happens in Centurion. So if the pitch is going to quicken up, definitely it could help India at some point of time, especially leading into lunch and tea late. Could be helping the fast bowlers, which is something the Indian team will be very keen on using as well. So I don't see the pitch getting better to bat on too much, but it will be probably slightly more even in terms of shot making. So it's going to be a very interesting tussle for both teams tomorrow. South Africa at the moment a few inches ahead of India, if you had to say that, but India could definitely pull it back tomorrow with a good performance.
Right, we've got insights from you, DK, but I know you love making a few outlandish predictions. So why don't you give us a number for India in the first innings?
But
What number will India end their first innings at?
I'll say 235.
And that means match on with the rain playing a role as well.
Uh, well, that's a better question for me to answer tomorrow. But for the moment, 235 for India is a very good, is a respectable total.
Right, it's been a rain curtail day one. India at 208 for 8. KL Rahul not out 70 of 105. Two gorgeous sixes as well as 10 boundaries. Shardul Thakur contributing, Virat Kohli contributing, Shreyas Iyer contributing. But the hero for the South Africans was Kagiso Rabada, who's touched the 500 international wickets mark, 5 for 44 his performance. And he'll want to make sure that he cleans up the Indian tail as quickly as possible for the South African batters to come in and pile on a lot of runs to win this first test match. A lot of cricket left in this first test match at Centurion, but we've come to the end of this episode of Cricbuzz Chatter. We will join DK once again to look back at day two. May it be a full 90 overs of play. We'll see you again on Cricbuzz Chatter.